I've lived in a quiet suburb just outside Seattle for about 10 years now. The kind of neighborhood where people still wave when they drive past, where kids ride bikes till the streetlights flicker on, and where everyone knows each other by name. It's calm, it's predictable, and that's exactly how I liked it. My name's Alex. I'm a software engineer for a tech company downtown. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills, and it bought me a small 2-bedroom house on Elm Street. A normal house, in a normal neighborhood, except for the one sitting right next to it. The house beside mine has always been wrong. When I moved in, back in 2015, it was already abandoned. The story around the block was that an old couple used to live there, Robert and Helen Thompson. They both passed away within a year of each other, and no one ever claimed the property. No kids, no relatives. Over the years, the place just rotted, paint peeled off in sheets. The porch sagged in the middle. The yard turned into a jungle of weeds and overgrown bushes. The windows were always caked with grime. You couldn't see inside, even if you wanted to. The kids in the neighborhood called it the haunted house on Elm Street. I always laughed when I heard that. There was nothing haunted about it. It was just empty, forgotten. Until my first Halloween there, that year, October 31st, landed on a Saturday. I was sitting on my porch handing out candy when I noticed something off. The abandoned house, the one that hadn't changed in years, was covered in decorations. I'm talking pumpkins lined up on the porch steps, fake cobwebs hanging from the railing, orange lights wrapped around the gutters, and even one of those inflatable ghosts waving in the wind. It looked like someone had gone all out. At first, I thought maybe the city did it. Sometimes, neighborhoods set up decorations to keep things festive for the kids. But when I asked my neighbor Karen across the street, she looked confused. Decorations? Over there, she said. That place has been empty since before you moved in. Nobody touches it. That night, I kept glancing over at it. A few kids even ran up to the porch and knocked, but nobody answered. The lights flickered a few times, and every so often, I swore I could hear faint music, like a broken Halloween speaker, looping from somewhere inside. Around midnight, when the street had gone quiet, I heard something else, faint creaking, like footsteps moving across old wooden floors. It came from that house. I told myself it was raccoons, or maybe wind pushing against loose boards. I didn't want to think about it, but the next morning, when I went outside, every single decoration was gone. No pumpkins, no cobwebs, no lights. The inflatable ghost, gone. The porch looked exactly how it had before, dusty, untouched, like none of it ever happened. That was the first year. The same thing happened every Halloween after that, like clockwork. Every October 31st, the decorations would appear at dusk. Lights, pumpkins, sometimes even fog machines. Then, by the next morning, everything would be gone again. By the third year, I decided to try to catch whoever was doing it. I set up a cheap motion-activated security camera, aimed at the yard. Halloween night came. The decorations appeared as usual. But when I checked the footage the next day, it was all static. The camera recorded fine every other night, except that one. The entire night's footage was corrupted. I tried again the next year. Same result. Glitched video. No explanation. Sarah, my girlfriend at the time, told me to drop it. You're obsessing, Alex, she said. Someone's probably just doing it for fun. Let it go. But I couldn't. By 2024, I'd lived next to that house long enough to know the pattern. Every Halloween, it came alive. Every November 1st, it was dead again. That year, the decorations were more elaborate than ever. Giant, fake spiders covered the roof. Gravestones filled the yard with rip carved into them, and the porch lights flickered like candles. I remember sitting outside around 8 p.m., sipping a drink, watching trick-or-treaters run up and down the street. At one point, I glanced up at the house's second floor, and I froze. In one of the upper windows, someone was standing there, a man, perfectly still, watching me. He didn't move, didn't wave, just stood there staring straight at my porch. I raised my phone to snap a picture, but when I zoomed in, he was gone. I barely slept that night. I kept hearing faint noises, thuds, dragging sounds, something like furniture scraping across the floorboards. But by sunrise, everything had vanished again. Decorations gone. Curtains closed. A few days later, I finally met him. It was a Saturday morning. I was raking leaves when I heard a soft whistle. When I looked up, there was a man standing in the abandoned yard, middle-aged, maybe late 40s or 50s, wearing a flannel shirt and jeans. He smiled when he saw me. "Hey there," he said. "You must be the neighbor." "Yeah," I said slowly. "You live here?" "Nah," he chuckled. "Just checking on the place. My name's Mike. It was my dad's house. Robert Thompson." That name hit me. I remembered it from the property records I'd looked up a while back. He talked casually, too casually, asking about my job, whether I had kids, how long I'd lived here. His smile never faded. It almost looked forced. Finally, I asked a question that had been eating at me for years. "So what's with the decorations? I've seen them every Halloween since I moved in." His smile faltered for the first time. He looked at the house, then back at me. "That was my dad's thing," he said quietly. "He loved Halloween. We used to decorate like that every year. Pumpkins, lights, music, all of it." He looked down at the dirt, scuffing it with his boot. One year, he called me late. It was Halloween night, 2014. He'd gone out to get one last pumpkin from the patch down the road, but he sounded terrified. He said someone was following him. Mike's voice lowered. He said, "Mike, please come quick. I think they're after me." He paused for a long time before continuing. I drove over. It took me about an hour. When I got here, the door was wide open. Lights on. The house was a mess. Chairs knocked over. Papers scattered. But my dad was gone. No signs of him anywhere. He stared off at nothing for a few seconds before saying, "Every year, I come back and decorate. It's stupid, but I keep hoping he'll see it. Maybe find his way home." I didn't know what to say. It was a sad story. I told him I was sorry for his loss. He nodded, forced another smile, and shook my hand. His grip was ice cold, too cold. Then he turned and walked down the street to a pickup truck parked a few houses away, drove off without another word. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about him. The story made sense. It explained the decorations, the noises, but something about it felt wrong. A week later, I came home from work around 9 p.m. It was raining hard. My headlights swept across my driveway, and my heart stopped. My front door was wide open. I called 911 immediately and waited in the car until police arrived. When they went inside, the place was destroyed. Every drawer open, cushions slashed, my laptop, TV, and safe all gone. No sign of forced entry. The lock wasn't broken. I told the officers about Mike, the guy from next door. They looked confused. "Next door?" One of them asked. "That house has been empty for years." I insisted, told them everything. His name, the story about his father. The older officer pulled up property records on his tablet and shook his head. Robert Thompson died in 2010. Natural causes. Buried in Greenwood Cemetery. No surviving relatives. I felt my stomach drop. "No," I said, "that's not right." He told me his dad disappeared in 2014. I talked to him right there in the yard. They searched the house next door. It was unlocked, but inside, everything was covered in dust. No footprints, no sign anyone had been there in months, maybe years. I went to the county office myself the next morning, checked the public death records. Sure enough, Robert Thompson, deceased, 2010. No children listed. Who the hell was Mike? Since then, I've replaced every lock, installed new cameras, alarms, motion sensors, but sometimes, late at night, I still hear it. Footsteps creaking in the empty house next door, and sometimes, I'll look out my window and see that upstairs curtain move. Halloween's coming again soon, and this time, if I see those decorations appear again, I'm not sticking around to find out who's putting them up. Because whoever Mike was, or whatever he was, he's not gone, and that house next door, it was never really empty.